That was on mute. Oh, about 3 weeks ago, it took me 10 days to get to negative. I've just got this cough, so I will endeavour to put myself on mute, should I get the need.
You know, I am so excited. This is my favorite time of the week, where I get a chance to talk to someone who is a leader and is living their values. And it's the funnest time to be able to expose somebody very cool so that we could all learn about them together. And today is no exception. I am so excited to have Morag Barrett with us. Morag, hi.
Hi, Mitchell. How are you?
I'm doing great. And we're playing around with a new producer. So I'm so looking forward to watching this afterwards. And Garen, thank you so much for helping us do this. Morag, the first question is theoretically an easy question, but I'm going to throw it up in a softball. And that is, hi, who are you?
Who am I? Well, here's what my clients would tell you. They'll tell you I'm three things, a bit like one of the ancient Greek monsters, maybe. I am a herder of cats. I am a truth seeker and speaker. And I am a poker of bears. But when I'm not doing those three things, and hopefully that's left me as an international woman of mystery, I'm a mother, a ballroom dancer, and a bassoonist. So there you go. Pick whichever thread piques your curiosity there, Mitchell.
I don't know if I've ever heard anyone say bassoonist in a conversation before. What's a bassoonist?
Well, there you go. She is what I am, one of the luckiest woodwind players of all in terms of the symphony orchestra, back row, invariably drowned out by the trombones who get the same tune as I do. But in demand because bassoonists are like hen's teeth in terms of the number of people who choose to play that. It's the largest of the woodwind instruments. It is about 10 feet of maple and double reed. So there you go, a little bit. People are now Googling it somewhere, Mitchell.
Okay, you got to be able to spell bassoonist. Yeah. Okay, got it. What do you mean poking the bear?
Poking the bear. So I know in my own career, whether it's in corporate or even as a business owner, we all get into our comfort zone. So when I am working with leaders, whether it's the leadership programs my team and I are developing, working with an intact team and coaching 11 leaders around the table as to what does success look like, or in my role as an executive coach, poking the bear is one of the key skills, which is prodding and challenging assumptions, mindsets, getting us out of our comfort zones so that we can learn and grow and deliver the business results being asked of us and be better together.
So if you're going to call yourself the bear personally, who's the person who's poking you?
Oh, well, yeah, I have to take my own medicine sometimes, but I am very lucky in that I have Eric Spencer and Ruby Vesley with me here at Sky Team, and they are pretty good at poking this particular bear and challenging me in terms of my assumptions around the how and what we do at Sky Team.
That's kind of cool. What is it? What do they do? How do you poke a bear effectively?
Well, hopefully from a distance, because they can run fast in real life. But they're very good at asking questions, and they've learned that when it comes to change, I'm an ideas person, and ideas a minute, and allowing me to sleep on them and then process through the 100 ideas I may have generated and then come back with so what are we actually going to do, is probably more successful than trying to do that particular discussion in the moment. So they're very good at helping us to pace ourselves and for me to pace myself versus running ahead. And we've all seen leaders do this. Great idea. They run ahead and they forget to check, am I running on my own? Am I running in the right direction? And that's what Eric and Ruby do for me when they're poking this particular bear.
Does it ever bother you?
Oh, gosh, yes. Oh, yes. I mean, doesn't it all, though, when people tell you the stuff that you know you should do, like get off the sofa and go exercise? Of course, it causes me to prickle. But emotional intelligence, leadership journey, part of it is curiosity and understanding, well, what am I missing out on if I don't pay attention to this message? And of course, in my own prickliness, I learn how to be a better coach when I'm poking the bear that is the client. But ultimately, they don't hire Sky Team. Our clients aren't bringing Eric, Ruby, or I in to just pat people on the head and say, oh, great job, carry on. They're bringing us in to help be a catalyst for change, but to do it in a way that makes life and work lighter and to make it fun in the process. So if it hurts, if it leaves me or others winded on the sofa and not wanting to move, then we're poking the bear in an ineffective way. Instead, what we want is ownership, excitement, opportunity, potential, and let's get at it and try it and iterate and learn and grow as we go.
All right. So you like to, you're coachable yourself. You like to coach. You appear to have the intent and commitment to do the right thing. You're curious. What are some of the other values that you would associate with yourself?
So there's a couple. I'm going to go with three. The first one is the foundation for my new book, You, Me, We, which is abundance and generosity. I can safely say that I'll couple those together as a value. It's my approach to life and business. And the abundance piece is that there's more than enough work and more than enough success out there for all of us. We've just got to find our own version of it. And the generosity is in my innate desire to help others succeed. So to give of my time, to give of my experience, to give of my expertise to help others learn and grow. So that would be the first value that I live by. And there's a downside to it, which if we have time, you can poke the bear about that one. The second one would be about the power of relationships. Life and business especially is a team sport. We can't be successful individually. It is all about the quality of the relationships that we build, which links back to abundance and generosity. And so my third one, if we've got abundance and generosity, the relationships, it would be a collaboration and teamwork. I am definitely one of, let's do this together. Two minds are better than one. And how do we learn and grow and challenge each other to take informed risks and surprise ourselves with the results that we can achieve? So there you go. Abundance and generosity, relationships, collaboration.
Was there a point in your life where you didn't live that way, where it was more about the I versus the we?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think back to my early career. I talk about this in my books. I valued independence versus interdependence. The penny had not yet dropped. And so for me, it was very much give me a challenge, give me a project, give me a job, and I will go do it with a minimum of supervision and the minimum of input from others. And I was pretty good at it. The thing was, though, I wasn't good at bringing others with me. And so I was becoming a bit of an island. And as I shared earlier when I was talking about relationships and the fact that we are all interconnected, when I made that shift to interdependence, how do I work and achieve results with and through others versus through my own efforts? That's where I saw the hockey stick of success and transformation really start to take off.
That's interesting. All right. So, and when was that? How long ago was that?
Are you asking this lady her age, sir? I am shocked.
Not at all. I don't guess women's ages. I was on a podcast yesterday, and it was with an 11-year-old. He wanted me to guess what class he was in. I'm like, yeah, no, sorry, I won't get it right, and I'll only offend you. So, yeah.
Okay. But I'll be honest, my career is now 30 years old. It's old enough to drink, drive, and whatever else happens when you get to your third decade. And I would say that the pivot point for me was probably about 10 years into my career. So it was a long time coming, but that was in the 90s. I was in finance. I was in a very traditional male orientated industry and environment. I was managers at the time.
Yes, yes, I agree, and that's very cool. And the thought was coming to mind is what was the trigger? What got you? By the way, we're taught and still taught in school today, and particularly when you're at the management leadership level, to be these independent people who could solve problems, figure it out, and lead the charge. But you sort of lead your own. What triggered you from the I to the we? What there must have been some interesting incident or series of activities.
Poor leader can have, and also recognizing not just on individual employees like myself, but the impact that has on business success. And in that particular career, whether or not you could even afford to pay the bank back for the monies that they'd lent to you. And so that's what's pivoted me both into a passion around leadership and the people side of successful organizations, and the focus on relationships and the collaboration and interdependence that we've been talking about.
So, and what I'm hearing. So I'm hearing you saw this in others, but I was trying to get at like where was it for yourself? Like what was it? What was it that smacked you in the head and go, oh my goodness, things need to change?
Well, it was the case of with that toxic boss, do I stay or do I go? And I remember a subsequent experience with a toxic boss that literally, literally metaphorically brought me to my knees. I mean, it literally brought me to tears, but caused me to have self-confidence rock bottom. It caused me to doubt my ability to be successful, even with the track record that had gone before. And so for me, that was the wake up call, is that none of us are trapped. If we are in an environment that because of others or because of the systems or because of ourselves, we're not able to thrive, then we need to take ownership for that and either find a new team, a new organization, a new role that does tap into our talents and allow us to be the best version of ourselves that we can be.
By the way, I'm poking the bear.
No, that's fine. I'm not feeling prickly though, so keep going,
Oh,
Mitchell.
good. Oh, well, because I remember having a toxic boss, but I didn't learn as much from that boss as I needed to, as you did. It was there. were there people who reached out to you, or because for us to completely change from a I to a we requires something being hit besides potentially having a bad boss, or maybe for some, maybe that is what would work. It just trying to see what that might be. Like, what was that value that, or what was that activity that just said, I can't do this alone?
And were one of my first clients bringing me in as Morag. But as the company then grew, and as I think about the last decade with Eric and Ruby, that for me is the pinnacle of my journey in terms of how we are better together. Because both Eric, Ruby, and I, the three of us, are what I call ally relationships. We trust each other implicitly and explicitly, have each other's backs. And I have seen that play out, and we talk about it in our books, from the successes and the highs when everything is going well, when it's easy to be a good colleague or a good boss or a good friend. But we've also navigated through the toughest times, personally and professionally, not just the pandemic, but also in our personal lives, that had we not had that strength of relationship and collaboration, the high would be where we are today. And so is there a stop-go moment that I can point to? No, but I can point to a series of learnings throughout my career that the punchline is, I wish somebody had told me sooner, because I think I could have got there earlier and had an increased ripple effect for the people who work with and around me, whether that's clients, team members, etc.
Tell me about the told you sooner. What would the words have been said that you would have heard?
You know, that's a powerful question, Mitchell, that it's a little hard. It's a little hard to answer, because I'm not one that looks back retrospectively and says, oh, I wish I'd done. And I certainly remember
Me neither. By the way, agreed. Me neither.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just do the best you could, right?
There's the question around, what would somebody need to say to me now that would cause me to shift and change going forward tomorrow? And I think you've done it in just asking that question and causing me to pause and think. And I'm still processing. And I think it's an example of Marshall Goldsmith when he's asking us, do we undersell or oversell ourselves? Would the world be a better place if we were to bring our skills out more loudly and more consistently? Those are the moments that cause me to think about the path that we're on at SkyTeam, the assumptions I've made about what does success look like for me individually and us as a team. And then making an explicit choice of, no, I like what we're doing. I like our definition, or no, I'm going to fine tune it. I'm thinking bigger, or I'm thinking different. So what would have caused me to change? Somebody asking a powerful question like you just did. What does cause me to change is being in the moment, being curious and listening to what others are saying, but then having the confidence to make my own choice as to what I will or won't do differently tomorrow.
You know, it's interesting as I'm thinking about your book. Why don't you talk about why the title is You, Me, We? I mean, because basically this is the conversation we've been having. So
It is.
How did that title come about?
So that title came about through some friends of ours, because we actually had a different book title ready to go. And then, would you believe it? Another book came out with the title we were working on. But don't even ask me what the title was, because I've now forgotten it, because we're so in love with You, Me, We. So the full title is You, Me, We, Why We All Need a Friend at Work and How to Show Up as One. And I think for me, you, me, we sums it up. Gallup have been asking for more than 20 years as part of their engagement surveys, do you have a best friend at work? And that's always pushed my buttons, and they get pushed back too. But it's a passive question because it allows me to sit back and say, well, no, I don't have a best friend at work because Mitchell got the promotion I wanted, or Mitchell's team got the project I wanted to lead. No, I don't have a best friend at work. So what we're doing in You, Me, We is turning that question on its head from being passive to proactive. And the question we should be asking ourselves is, am I a friend at work? And so if we're going to be a friend at work, not just to our colleagues, but to ourselves, that means that I need to understand your definition of success, your priorities, your goals. I need to also be very clear on, for me, what is my definition of success? What are my values? What are my priorities? Then we can look at the intersect, hence the Venn diagram on the book, or the cover of the book, where we can focus on how do we achieve those individually and collectively to ensure that ultimately we are #better together. So a bit of a long answer, but I'm very passionate about this book and its importance right now because we had an epidemic of loneliness even before the pandemic. It has only been exacerbated as we continue to work at a distance. And so what we're providing is a different framework that allows us to rekindle and nurture that sense of belonging and connection to our colleagues, whether we're working in 3 dimensions or through the camera like you and I are today.
How do you teach, or how do you share, or how do you learn? How does a command and control executive learn to care about you first? Because the command and control executive is only about me. Like, I'm just thinking about your book title, You, Me, We. There is no we. There is no you. There's only, from that command and control executive, the me. And how do you change the mindset of that person to think about it along the lines of the title of your book?
So I would argue a command and control structure is not necessarily the same as a command and control mindset. And I've had the opportunity to teach these concepts, North Slope, Alaska, to frontline oil and gas drillers. I've been to Chile and Peru to work with gold miners. Again, very direct, no nonsense type of leadership management and practical approach to work. And it starts with the individual, and the foundation here, I already talked about abundance and generosity being one of my foundational values. It is the foundational practice of an ally mindset. So from the research that Eric Ruby and I did with thousands of leaders who've gone through our program, and from the ally mindset profile that everybody listening to this is invited to complete, what we identified was 5 practices that help you to shift from a me first to a we first mindset. And it starts with abundance and generosity. Because if we look at success as being a scarce resource, then we will invariably hoard knowledge. We will hoard talent. We will hoard information, which ultimately slows down information flow, decision quality, and undermines the very success we're trying to achieve. Whereas abundance and generosity is, how do I help you, Mitchell, to achieve the results you need? Because if you're successful in the sales organization, then I'm going to be successful in operations. And if we are successful, but we're undermining human resources, our success is going to get undermined at some point when HR can no longer attract or retain the talent we need to support the growth of the organization. And it comes back to everything is connected. So how do we help shift leader mindsets? By understanding the gap in their own definition of success. What are they or their teams not yet achieving that they aspire to? And then we can look at what's getting in the way individually and collectively around how we show up that then closes that gap.
I'm stuck on this really amazingly cool expression. Success is not a scarce resource, it's a shared resource.
Yes.
That was pretty powerful.
Gives me goosebumps just to think about it. Because when we think of success being a shared experience, and there's an African proverb, which is, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. But think about the ripple effects that we can create when we are helping others to succeed. As a leader, you're going to have a reputation of, I want to be on Mitchell's team because look, the past person got promoted quickly. It's a career opportunity. You as a leader are going to have people knocking on your door, talented employees who want to join and work with and for you. So your success isn't undermined. You become the go-to colleague. So when we can shift from me first scarcity to we first and abundance, it opens up the possibilities for everyone. The sky literally is the limit.
Morag, based on this conversation, is there a question I should have asked you that I didn't?
Well, you could ask, I mean, there are many questions, and we should do those one evening. We can put the world to right. But the question that I'm continually asking myself is, well, there's three. I see, look, you see, you're already getting me to think there are three. Number one is, how do I want others to feel in my presence? And as leaders, if we can be thinking about how do we want others to feel in our presence? My toxic bosses who left me afraid and lacking confidence, that's not what we want. We want our teams to feel empowered and excited and see the possibilities. So ask yourselves, how do you want people to feel in your presence? Because then you can be intentional about how you show up to unlock that within them. Whether that's being more directive and giving them a challenge that slightly scares them, that's outside of reach because they thrive on it. Or maybe it's turning up the dial on being coaching and supportive and guiding your team to success. So one is, how do I want others to feel in my presence? Two is then, how do I need to show up to create that environment? And then the question number three, which is which first came to mind when you asked, is, did I do my best? Because we're all human. There are going to be moments where we forget our values, where we take shortcuts, and they have unintended consequences for others and ourselves. And ultimately, by asking, did I do my best? It allows us to inhale and exhale, let it go. And tomorrow is a whole new day. The next meeting is a whole new opportunity to rebuild trust, to continue to nurture the relationships that ensure that we can be successful together.
Right, so let's ask those three questions. How do you want others to feel in your presence?
How do I want others to feel in my presence? I want people to feel inspired. I want them to feel self-confident, and I want them to have a bit of a giggle and some fun.
And so do you bring in a bassoon, or what is it that you do how do you show up to create that environment?
Oh my goodness. Well, the bassoon does show up because I actually took it to our corporate photo shoot. But if you go to youmewebook.com, you'll see the book trailer video, and there are unicorns in it because we bring a fun approach to leadership development. We aren't the stale, buttoned up tie that I experienced in banking. We try to make life and work lighter. We spend so much time at work. It ought to be fun in how we collaborate with vendors, with clients, with each other. And so having a sense of humor, being able to laugh at ourselves and our own learning and mistakes and journeys, but also celebrate the successes, that's part of how we do it. But bassoons are entirely optional.
I'm actually thinking about, what is that, the thing that you turn around, which is the opposite of a bassoon. But and that last question feels like a Marshall Goldsmith inspired question, is, did you do your best?
Well, he asks very powerful questions, and certainly he does ask that, did you do your best? And he is very good with his Buddhist mantra in terms of just letting it go. Breathe it in, breathe it out, let it go. We all carry so much baggage with us. We beat ourselves up because, oh, I should have, I could have. Well, you can't change the past, much like your question about what should somebody have said to me, Morag, 20 years ago to change my career arc. That question doesn't compute. But the question that does compute is, what can I do right now in this moment, in the next 5 minutes, to show up as the best version of me and enable you to be the best version of you? That's where the power of leadership is. That's where the power of life is.
I Can't agree with you more. Love that. Hey, if you're listening or you're watching and you're excited and you want to reach out to Morag for this, Morag, what's the best way for people to go about doing that?
You can reach out to me in 3 ways. I like threes today, it seems. So LinkedIn.
Today's a 3-day for you. Yes.
3 years a 3-day for me. So find me on LinkedIn. If you message me on LinkedIn, it is me that will be replying. You can learn more about the book at youmeWeBook.com. And of course, there is the corporate website, Sky Team. I'm going to lean the right way. No, I'm not going to lean the right way. Sky Team, SKYE team.com. And you can learn more about our leadership programs, keynote speaking, and all of the people-related, people capability programs that we offer.
Morag, thanks so much for spending time with us today.
It's been a pleasure, Mitchell. Thank you so much.
Oh, of course. And listen, if you're still here, this means that you love the conversation. You're excited about it. It's now your chance to spread some cred dust. So click on the like button, share with your friends, write down that aha moment that really caught your attention. And we'll see you at the next episode of Leaders Living Their Values. Take care, everyone. Bye now.